Hello everyone. Welcome to my YNR 24 spoilers. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Phyllis plans her retaliation. According to Monday, October 20th, 2025, spoilers for the young and the restless. Phyllis is planning her retaliation. Nate is getting a surprise invitation, and Cricket's bachelorette celebration takes a surprising turn. The Young and the Restless next episodes. On The Young and the Restless, Phyllis can do anything she wants. Phyllis Summers and Sharon Newman are no longer at odds. However, her other rivalries remain firmly established. Her battle with Cricket Blair Williams has lasted the longest and is still going strong. Daniel has already been requested by Cricket to try his utmost to prevent Phyllis from attending her wedding. However, Daniel might not be there to stop his mother because he is too busy helping Tessa with Mariah. Watch for Phyllis to hatch her retaliation plan on Monday's program. Does this entail holding Cricket accountable for assisting Danny, Michael Damian, in obtaining custody of their son in court several decades ago? To discover out, tune in. Surprise, surprise. On The Young and the Restless, Nate Hastings will receive a surprise. Naturally, Nate Hastings has been feeling a little depressed after his relationship with Audra Charles didn't work out. The man could use some encouragement. Nate gets an unexpected invitation to the show on Monday, so maybe he'll get one. Will Audra contact Nate and request another meeting? Or is this a social gathering that will distract Nate from his current problems? One of the wedding guests. Cricket's appearance on The Young and the Restless had the entire cast cheering him on. Cricket's bachelorette celebration will take a surprising turn on Monday's program. Does this imply that she will postpone or cancel the event? Perhaps she will incorporate her gala into Danny's bachelor party? And really, Danny and Cricket shouldn't have been split up in the first place. Danny was tricked by Phyllis into believing that he had fathered her kid, Daniel, and that they had had sex. Although Danny considers Daniel to be his own, they are not related by blood. After Phyllis's schemes were eventually revealed, her animosity for Cricket only grew. Will Phyllis be involved in Cricket's gathering's surprising turn? To discover out, tune in. Phyllis makes a bold wager. According to Tuesday, October 21st, 2025, spoilers for The Young and the Restless, Tessa is taking a hazardous gamble. Kane is attempting to patch things up with Devin, and Phyllis is putting a bet. The Young and the Restless next episodes. On The Young and the Restless, Phyllis has already destroyed Danny and Cricket's happiness. Every day when she wakes up, Phyllis Summers wants to prove herself to her family, friends, and the world. She wants the world to give her credit, which is one of the reasons she is so uncontrollable and unpredictable. Because of this, she has done a lot of crazy things over the years, and she isn't going to stop. Keep an eye out for Phyllis to make a bold wager on Tuesday's episode. Does she want to ruin Cricket and Danny's impending wedding day? Or is this related to her continuing business relationship with Kane? Repairing fences. Brighton James and Crystal Khalil on The Young and the Restless. Devin and Kane were once close friends, but their relationship had soured as a result of Kane's departure from Genoa City following his father Colin's attempt to embezzle Devin's wealth. Devin is likewise unhappy with Kane's treatment of Lily. It might all change on Tuesday's show. Keep an eye out for Kane to attempt to patch things up with Devin. Building a relationship with Devin could be the first step towards Kane gaining the support of Lily and their children, Charlie and Maddie. No glory, no courage. On The Young and the Restless, Mariah might unintentionally push Tessa and Daniel together. Mariah is no closer to her former life with her wife Tessa and their baby Aria, even though she received some assistance at a clinic in Boston. What is expected of Tessa? She has tried everything. Is it possible that Tessa should simply wait for events to develop and unfold as they should? Does this imply that she will further emphasize her bond with Daniel? Would she and Mariah never be able to get back together if she did? Phyllis Summers, the mastermind of anarchy and retaliation. One of the most complex and interesting characters on The Young and the Restless for a long time has been Phyllis Summers. The contradiction that characterizes so many of Genoa City's most enduring individuals is personified by Phyllis, who is well known for her fiery red hair, strong independence, and unwavering willpower. She is a mother and a manipulator, a victim and a villain, a woman who has loved sincerely but destroyed carelessly. She has a notorious taste for vengeance, and her charm and brilliance are as captivating as they are lethal. It's not just another playful adventure when the spoilers hint that Phyllis plans her retaliation. Rather, it's the continuation of a decades-long tale of treachery, animosity, and retaliation that has characterized her life. Phyllis has a longer list of adversaries and a longer memory. Even though she has made numerous attempts at reform, the desire for retribution constantly pulls her back into her old routine. Furthermore, retaliation in Genoa City is never merely emotional. It is also tactical, psychological, and frequently extremely personal. She has one of the longest-running rivalries in soap opera history with cricket Blair Williams. Their decades-old hostility is based on deception, deceit, and heartache. Cricket, or Christine, as many still refer to her, is a symbol of all that Phyllis hates and longs for: security, moral rectitude, and the capacity to arouse love without deceit. Cricket's joy serves as a reminder to Phyllis of her own shortcomings and the times she attempted to win love by coercion rather than honesty. Thus, Phyllis's old scars burst when she learns that Cricket and Danny are getting married. This is about history being rewritten without Phyllis's permission, and it goes beyond simple love rivalry. The same woman who deceitfully won Danny's heart must now watch him get back together with his true love. In a last-ditch effort to maintain harmony, the spoilers indicate that Cricket has even gone so far as to beg Daniel to keep his mother away from the wedding. However, as season watchers are aware, nothing irritates Phyllis more than being left out. Every calculated move she makes in this episode probably comes from that deep-seated need to be seen, to matter, even if it means being feared rather than loved. Her revenge plot isn't just about upsetting a ceremony. It's about reclaiming agency, asserting control, and demonstrating that she can still outsmart her so-called moral betters. The emotional structure of retaliation. The fact that Phyllis's revenge is never flat or ludicrous is what makes it so captivating. Even if they don't agree with her acts, viewers can't help but understand her intentions, since Michelle Stafford portrays her with such knowledge and honest emotion. For Phyllis, seeking revenge is catharsis rather than just punishment. It's how she handles embarrassment, loss, and rejection. Phyllis has battled the idea that she is unredeemable for years. She has been written off, shunned, and arrested, but she always comes back stronger than before. Every act of retaliation she performs is also an act of survival. Beneath the cunning facade, there's a mother who fears being forgotten or replaced, whether it be by her kids, Danny, Nick, or Jack. According to the spoilers, Phyllis will plot her revenge in Monday's episode, which might take several different forms. Perhaps she will sneak into Cricket's bachelorette party and reveal truths or raise questions about Danny's loyalty. She might use social media to her advantage by planning a shocking leak to damage Cricket's impeccable reputation. Or perhaps, in typical Phyllis manner, she will use emotional warfare to turn allies against one another until anarchy breaks out. Phyllis is brilliant because she is unpredictable. When words suffice, she doesn't need to use a weapon. Her retaliation is powerful, accurate, and psychological. However, she runs the risk of losing the little goodwill she has managed to regain each time she strikes. Because of this, the next episodes are expected to be both exciting and heartbreaking. Phyllis may prevail in the conflict, but she is always losing the internal conflict. A reunion decades in the making between Danny and Cricket. Fans of The Young and the Restless are feeling nostalgic as a result of Danny and Cricket's romance being revived. Once the show's main focus, their love story was a charming, idealistic couple that contrasted sharply with the intrigue and maneuvering going on around them. However, years before, Phyllis deceived Danny into thinking he was the father of her son, Daniel, shattering that innocence. In addition to ruining Danny and Cricket's romance, the falsehood led Phyllis down a lifetime of manipulation and loneliness. Decades later, it appears like destiny is offering Danny and Cricket another shot. In addition to being poetic, their reunion serves as a prod, reminding Phyllis of her greatest transgression and her greatest remorse. For her, witnessing their happiness and impending marriage must be like watching a movie in reverse, where her lies are removed, her authority is revoked, and her story is remade without her. The extent to which this hostility still exists is demonstrated by Cricket's attempt to bar Phyllis from the wedding. Cricket still views Phyllis as a danger to her marriage and mental health, even after all these years have passed. However, that apprehension might turn into a self-fulfilling prophecy. Phyllis gets more determined to get in the more Cricket attempts to keep her out. Nate's surprising invitation, a glimmer of hope amid the darkness. Another plotline stabilizes the emotional turmoil, while Phyllis plots in the background. The spoilers are purposefully ambiguous, but Nate Hastings, who has been having difficulty since his romance with Audra Charles ended, receives a surprise invitation. This might be the start of Nate's journey toward redemption. Nate has always struggled to balance his morals and ambition. Ironically, he shared Phyllis's incapacity to distinguish between manipulation and desire, which ultimately led to his collapse with Audra. An unexpected invitation could be his opportunity to start again and interact with someone or something that gives him a new lease on life. It could be an offer to go back to work in medicine, or it could be the beginning of a new romance. This invitation could ultimately move his plot away from business scandal and toward emotional rejuvenation, whatever it is. Phyllis's and Nate's subplots are thematically opposed. Nate might discover a way to forgive and start over as she sinks farther into retaliation. Only one character will achieve validation via healing rather than destruction, despite the fact that both are looking for it. The bachelorette party at Cricket, a mix of happiness and anarchy. Cricket's bachelorette celebration takes an unexpected turn, according to another intriguing hint from the teasers. Unexpected rarely means pleasant in Genoa City. Would Phyllis interrupt the festivities? The likelihood seems all but certain. Imagine this scenario. Cricket is with her closest friends, celebrating life and second chances, when all of a sudden the door opens and Phyllis shows there, grinning with that perilous combination of defiance and appeal. The emotional atmosphere would be tremendous, regardless of whether she is there to make trouble or to offer a perverse kind of congrats. Additionally, this scene would make a fantastic narrative device. Decades of hostility would be brought into one space, making the women face not only their hatred but also their common past. Given that suffering fosters appreciation, Phyllis could contend that she is the reason Cricket now values Danny more. Cricket, on the other hand, might charge that Phyllis lacks the capacity for true regret. In any case, the unexpected turn is probably going to cause more than simply a disturbance at a party. It might start a domino effect that impacts the wedding itself. The twist of Tuesday, Phyllis bets dangerously. As if planning retaliation weren't enough, the episode that airs the next day reveals that Phyllis places a risky bet. Using the young and the restless metaphorical language, a bet typically refers to a gamble on power, money, or emotion, and Phyllis is no stranger to high-stakes risks. Her business dealings with Kane or her ongoing plans against Cricket and Danny could be the subject of this wager. The latter is particularly fascinating since Kane's return to Genoa City creates the possibility of new partnerships as well as fresh deceptions. While Phyllis thrives on taking advantage of desperation, Kane is a guy who is anxious to restore his reputation. Their collaboration would be tense but fascinating, two imperfect individuals attempting to change their histories. Phyllis's issue, however, is that she overplays her hand as usual. She confuses taking risks with having control since she thinks she can influence the outcome as long as she is the one taking action. However, Genoa City has repeatedly shown her that every gamble has repercussions, and the bigger the risk, the bigger the fall. Devon and Cain, healing the past. Cain's attempt to patch things up with Devon in Tuesday's episode adds more emotional depth. Since Colin, Cain's father, betrayed Devon by trying to take his riches, their animosity has been simmering for years. Families were shattered by the betrayal in addition to friendships. For Cain, reconciliation is about repairing his relationship with Lily and his kids, not just about making amends. Reconciliation moments in soap operas frequently reflect the week's overarching themes. Cain attempts to restore connections while Phyllis destroys them. His plot serves as a reminder that atonement is achievable, but only if Phyllis is honest and humble, two traits she still finds difficult to adopt. A more general message of forgiveness that runs throughout the week's episodes may be hinted at if Cain is successful in restoring harmony with Devon. Tessa, Daniel, and Mariah, the unexpected love triangle. Tessa, Mariah, and Daniel become the focus of the Tuesday episode's emotional core. Tessa feels powerless and alone as a result of Mariah's recovery issues, which have strained her marriage. According to the previews, Tessa may make a bold move and possibly turn to Daniel for assistance. Phyllis's arc and this plot thread blend together quite nicely. Torn between his affections for Tessa and his allegiance to his mother, Daniel might end up making the same mistakes twice. Phyllis may perceive Tessa and Daniel's growing intimacy as karmic justice or as a chance to take advantage of her son's romantic involvement. Emotional weakness is money in Genoa City, and Phyllis knows how to spend it. Depending on how far she's willing to go, her meddling might either strengthen the bond between Daniel and Tessa or break their relationship completely. The drama that is developing is made much more tragic by the possible repercussions for Mariah's mental health. The redemptive and destructive cycles. A recurring theme in these two episodes is cycles of destruction and attempts at atonement. One central question unites Tessa's audacious move, Cain's reconciliation, and Phyllis's retaliation. Can people really change, or are they destined to repeat their past transgressions? According to Phyllis's behavior, her unresolved bitterness keeps dragging her back even when she makes an effort to go on. Her biggest weakness is also her greatest strength. She refuses to be helpless. Even when that enjoyment no longer directly affects her, she cannot stand to let others have the joy she feels she has been denied. Characters like Nate and Cain are working to interrupt those cycles in the meantime. Their storylines imply that individuals who learn to forgive, rather than those who want retribution, might hold Genoa City's future. But for the time being, it's Phyllis's world, tumultuous, passionate, and completely engrossing. Future prospects, forecasts, and opportunities. As the week progresses, a number of possible outcomes are very likely. The most apparent and explosive scenario is that Phyllis crashes the wedding. Phyllis might show up at the ceremony and make a startling admission or disclosure, whether by deceit or sheer courage. A risky partnership. Phyllis might temporarily join forces with Cain, use his business contacts to advance her retaliation or gain influence over Danny and Cricket. Daniel torn between two worlds, trying to save his mother from himself while also becoming sucked into Tessa's mental struggle may put Daniel in an impossible situation. Nate's redemption arc. By accepting the unexpected offer, Nate may be able to reconnect with his roots and rediscover his morals and compassion. His storyline might act as a counterpoint to Phyllis's decline. A wedding interrupted, Cricket and Danny's wedding may not proceed as expected, in keeping with soap opera tradition. Phyllis's meddling, an unexpected admission, or a long-kept secret might cause the ceremony to end in heartache instead of vows. Conclusion. Phyllis Summers's everlasting flame. Phyllis Summers continues to be the central figure of the young and the restless. She is a lady who defies obscurity and is the epitome of passion, suffering, and tenacity. She may be hazardous because of her risk-taking and strategizing, but she is also unquestionably human. When spectators check in on October 20th to 21st, 2025, they will be witnessing the continuation of a legacy rather than just another vengeance story. A tribute to the complexity of human feeling. Phyllis's narrative is one of survival in the face of overwhelming adversity. She attracts attention whether she wins or loses. Because love and hate are always close by in Genoa City, and Phyllis Summers is the best person to walk that fine line.